go to the NFL honors. That's going to happen tonight. Matthew Stafford ended the regular season as the favorite to win MVP, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. Right behind him is Drake May. Both quarterbacks finished in the top 5 in passing touchdowns and passing yards. Despite going up against each other, May had nothing but nice things to say about Stafford. Listen to this.
I'll be stoked for Matthew. What a career. What a year he's had. More importantly, speaking on the year he's had, played at a really high level. Really every game you saw him making throws and making plays and leading that team at such a high level. So, big congrats to him and on a great year and knowing that, he's one of the best that's played this game. So it's been fun to watch.
Very nice things to say, of course. What else is he going to say? So tonight we're going to learn who's going to win that MVP. Drake May, Matthew Stafford. Who do you think gets it, Mina?
Well, I didn't know who gets it. I would say Stafford, but I'm a voter, and I voted for Drake May. And I'm right. And I'm going to explain to Dan Orlovsky why he's wrong, because we already know what he did. First of all, let's remind folks, this is a regular season award. We cast our votes after Week 18. Nothing that's happened since then should be applicable to that. Over the course of the regular season, for me, I look at two things, dominance and then value. From a dominance perspective, Drake May was better than Matthew Stafford in just about every meaningful statistic. QBR, EPA per dropback, success rate. He had the highest completion percentage in the NFL. He was first in all of those, despite having a high average depth of target. On top of that, he was a more efficient quarterback. He also brought an element with his rushing that you just don't get from Matthew Stafford, obviously. Opponent comes up a lot in the Patriots' schedule, for sure. But when you actually parse it down into offense and defense, the slate of defenses that the Patriots faced was not that different statistically from the Rams. In fact, in common opponents, Drake May was the better quarterback statistically. Then I look at value. Drake May during the regular season, I know we were watching this Patriots defense and they look great in the postseason. They were not great during the regular season. 23rd in DVOA. The run game, 21st. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford, the Rams defense, top 5 in DVOA, best run game in football. Finally, I like the Patriots receivers. They ain't Puka Nacua. So when you look at who carried their team more, who did more with less from a value perspective, in addition to the statistical dominance, to me, it is clearly Drake May.
All right, so one, I don't know who's going to win. I voted for Stafford. This is my biggest pushback to you, and this is where you lose it. You can't, on one hand, talk about the numerical advantage or the statistical advantage that Drake May has on some of the things that you reference, and then not talk about the schedule.
I just did. I talked about the schedule. If you look at the defenses,
Mina, the top-ranked defense New England played against was Buffalo at 12.
Statistically,
yes.
I am telling you, New England's a slate of defenses they faced. If you look at EPA per play, not much easier than the Patriots.
But
and
easier.
In common opponents, Drake May was the better. Yeah, slightly easier.
Common opponents?
Not,
what is that?
They both played the NFC South. You can look at the 6 teams that they both played, put up their stats side by side, and Drake May was better against those
that's
teams.
Over the court, like this game versus that game versus this game.
You're literally trying to bring up schedule, and I'm giving you schedule back.
No, but you can't say just a blank statement of a common opponent because when Drake May played against a common opponent in that defense,
Panthers,
who was
Bucks,
playing
whatnot.
on the defense in that game versus who was playing on the defense versus this game.
So in those common
different
opponents,
flows of games.
Yeah, but you're not actually bringing facts. You're not explaining to me that Matthew Stafford played more.
I'm
just saying you're not like.
How am I not bringing up facts when I tell you?
The problem is this.
Hold on.
You're like maybe different players were playing, but you're not actually giving me examples here.
Okay, but how
in
can
those
you?
Games?
But you're bringing up.
Why was Stafford so much worse against the Falcons?
How is it not a fact that the best ranked statistical defense the Patriots played this year were the Bills at 12? Is that a fact, yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, so
whoever played the single hardest defense should be the MVP just because one opponent was more difficult.
No, but when you say this quarterback's DVOA or statistical ranking is higher, and I tell you the best defense that he played against over the course of an 18-game season was 12th,
and over the course of an 18-game season, the defenses Stafford played ranked 20th, Drake May 17th. Is that enough of a difference to justify the statistical argument that I made earlier about May's dominance, as well as you haven't even gotten to the value side of it? The run game, the defense.
Let's talk about value. Honestly, what quarterback is asked to do more when it comes to the difficulty of throw?
I mean, Drake made some of the most difficult throws downfield of the entire season. Ryan, back me up here.
What quarterback is asked to do more?
Was Drake May not the best deep ball passer?
I don't know if I can talk because Dan wouldn't let me talk, so I'm not sure.
Get in
if
here.
Dan says I can talk, then I'll talk.
That is true. That is true. Because he
question.
prefaced a lot of the comments by saying you can't say, telling people what they can't say.
Yeah,
So
I don't
go ahead,
know.
RC. You
Yeah,
can speak.
So I don't really know. I'm confused. So here's what I think: Matthew Stafford is going to win the MVP.
I do too, probably.
And I believe the MVP for so many different seasons is about narrative. The narrative around Matthew Stafford is he's always been this incredibly talented quarterback. He goes to Los Angeles and he wins the Super Bowl. And this is probably one of the better seasons we've seen from a 37-year-old quarterback. And I can only think about Aaron Rodgers, and I can only think about Peyton Manning, who were playing at that level along with Tom Brady at this age. So all those things go into it. When I think about value to the team, Drake May's value to the team to me is higher because offensively, his team isn't as skilled. Offensively, his team can't boost him the way that Matthew Stafford can be boosted. And let's be honest, a ton of these touchdowns from Matthew Stafford in the red zone were run pass options or pass run options that he watched Davante Adams win on. And the hardest part about these conversations is both these dudes are worthy of vote.
Oh, yes.
Both of these dudes
Two spectacular
played
seasons.
the two best seasons at the quarterback position. But when you are just looking at the value of the person, I think Drake May provided more value for his team. And the Rams, in my opinion, are in a different place and better place than the New England Patriots are if Matthew Stafford misses time as opposed to Drake May.
That's the value.
Couple of things, America. First thing, let's get some of these out of the way first. First of all, it just shows you how special ESPN is because we can bring you NFL Live in the morning on first take. All two shows all rolled up into one. But nobody can do that like us. That's number one. Number two, as the least qualified individual on this set to tell you what I feel about this particular subject, I'm going to tell it to you anyway. If I had a vote, it would have been for Matthew Stafford, not taking anything away from what Mina highlighted about the year that Drake May has had. But I love the fact that RC brought up narrative because as an NBA guy, a lot of times the narrative rules the day. There were years Michael Jordan deserved the MVP. He didn't get it. All right, there's at least one year Shaq deserved, several years actually, Shaq deserved the MVP. Yeah. He didn't get it, okay? These are the kind of things. LeBron has deserved the MVP. He didn't get it. Kobe has. He didn't get it, okay? When you look at Matthew Stafford, 46 touchdowns, 15 more touchdown passes than Drake May, I can't ignore that. 4,700 yards passing, I can't ignore that. Puka Nacua only missed pretty much a game. Davante Adams missed 3 games. We got to remember that Matthew Stafford came into this season. There was speculation that he was going to miss the early part before that didn't happen because of his back injury. He goes out there. Not only does he play, he plays lights out. We see a Seattle defense that was ranked number 1, but somehow, some way, when they went up against that brother, he drops 37 one game without Davante Adams, drops 27 another in an NFC Championship game. Whatever moments there were, when you looked at the Los Angeles Rams, it was defense or special teams. It wasn't because of their offense a lot of times that when they struggled, it wasn't because of their offense. So I'm looking at this guy, relatively a stationary target, at age 37, with back issues that went out on the football field. Number 1 in points scored, number 1 in yards, number 1 passing attack in the National Football League. And it was all because of him.
No, but it's not all because of him.
Well, no offense is because of
No, but some are more so than others. That's what Ryan and I were saying. The Rams had the best run game in football this year, guys.
Listen.
The best.
Williams ran for 1,252 yards, if I remember correctly. The point is, again, when you've got a cat like Matthew Stafford throwing you the football, it's not just about your running game helping your passing game. It's also about your passing game helping your running game.
Sure.
Because this brother could throw the football like that, too. So let's not forget that. He's special. And I'm just looking at it from that standpoint. I actually thought they was going to be in the Super Bowl because of this man right there.
They should have been.
They should have been.
So let me ask this question. I know it's a regular season award.
That's what I'm saying. If it was a postseason award, I would be making a totally different argument.
So let's pretend like we can include the postseason here. I know we can't. We're changing the rules. Would you still say Drake May should win the MVP?
If we were including the postseason, no. But as a voter, I have to be very, adhere to what we're voting on. I also, I understand what y'all are saying about narratives, and I honestly think that's a big part of why Matthew Stafford is going to win. And I'm not against it. He was spectacular this season. But for me, the way I approach these votes is I don't think about narratives. I don't think about storylines. I don't think about career achievement. I'm focusing on one season, who is better, who did more with what was given to them.
Do you have a Hall of Fame? Do you have a Hall of Fame vote?
I don't.
They need you. They need you.
I don't.
Well, go ahead.
The way I vote really off of just tape, like what quarterback, the way they're playing, what they're asked to do, who they're doing it with versus who they're doing it against. Matthew Stafford versus top 10 defenses this year, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception, a QBR of 75.8. The 14 playoff teams. That was the toughest schedule out of anybody that made the playoffs this year. It's the 5th toughest schedule of anybody since 1970.
Yeah.
New England, since 1970, it's the easiest schedule.
But that's you're doing both sides of the ball. Isolated
Correct.
it to defenses.
Matthew Stafford, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 23 sacks. That is 15 more, the touchdowns, 15 more than the sacks and interceptions combined. Everybody who's done that number, 15 or more, has won the MVP. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino. There's no way that you can watch both of those young men play, not young men. Drake had a great season, and say Drake was asked to do the same stuff from a pass game perspective Matthew was, and make the same throws.
I think that's the point, though, of why before I started, and I think Mina did as well, we said we expect that Matthew Stafford is going to win because many of those things that you're saying are true. We're just talking about the value to the team, and I think the way that Drake May played, the way it elevated a roster to where his team ended the season as opposed to Matthew Stafford, I think there's a difference in what they did within those
They also won their division, unlike the
Drake
Rams.
May could join Kurt Warner as the only players to win MVP in a Super Bowl within the first 2 seasons in the NFL.
By the way, Matthew Stafford against the Blitz this year, 32 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Drake May so much better under pressure.
32 touchdowns.
We'll keep debating this in the break. Coming up, what is more likely to happen in the Super Bowl? Is it going to be a Pats win or a Seahawks blowout? This will be must-see TV when we discuss this next.